Hey everyone, it's Michael from Notefolds, and today I'm going to show you how to make that purse that Jill and I made in our Stamping Up workshop in April. And what's great about this is the recipient can open it up, and there you can see it falls open. Let's actually zoom out so you can kind of see that a little bit better. There you go. So you can see that there's plenty of places for you to write a sentiment, stamp embellishments, whatever you want to do. And there's also a space on the inside, so maybe if you want to drop a couple of treats in there, there's plenty of room to do that. And then what's great is it just folds right back up, and it looks very attractive, and it is not as complicated to make as you might think. There are several steps in it, but I'm here to guide you through, so let's go ahead and get started. To start making this card, the first thing we need to do is score our 12 by 12 paper. So here is the blue that I'm going to be using, and one side is textured and the other side is not. So I'm going to put the textured side down because that's going to be the outside of the purse. So if you're using a pattern paper, you want to put that pattern side down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and score at 4 inches and 8 inches, and then we'll rotate the paper and we'll score at 4 and 8. Now that I've scored it at 4 and 8 inches on all sides, I'm going to turn it over so that my pattern side is facing up. This is my outside of the purse, and I'm going to score it at 6 inches just down to that middle line, and that was at 4 inches there. So just down to there. I'm going to turn the paper 180 degrees, and I'm going to again score at 6 inches down to that center square. Now if you have one of these Martha Stewart scoreboards, they come with this diagonal tool for making diagonal creases. I know that Stamping Up also sells an insert for this that fills the whole board, but we're going to use the Martha Stewart piece because what we need to do is we need to score diagonally here. So if you put your 12 by 12 paper in, it lines up at 8.5 on one point and 8.5 on the top point. I know you can't see that, it's off the screen there, but we're just going to line that up at 8.5 and then pull down our diagonal tool until it's right up against the paper. And then we just need to score, and for this there are measurements on here, and it's going to be at 2 7/8, so almost right up to the 3 but not quite. So we're just going to score at 2 7/8 down, okay, and then we'll rotate the paper, and we're going to do the same on all 4 corners. So here we go, 2 7/8. Rotate it again, and 2 7/8, and one more time for the 4th corner at 2 7/8. To do the next set of diagonal creases, we're actually going to now be scoring from the top. Before we were scoring down here, but again I've put the points at 8.5 inches and then put my diagonal tool here just to kind of hold it in place. And what I'm going to do is score from the 8.5 down to where those lines meet right before the center box here. And you'll notice that I also turned the paper over so the pattern side is facing up. So let's go ahead and score here at 8.5, and again we're just going to go down to that box. Okay, we'll rotate the paper, and you can see how having this diagonal tool in place really helps you line up the paper quickly. So again, diagonal there, now into our 3rd corner, 8.5, just down to that center box, and one more time on the 4th side. Okay, and now all of our creases are done. Now that we have our paper creased, we actually need to cut off the 4 corners here, and you can see I kind of folded them down a little bit to make it easier in my life to cut those. I'm going to use a bypass trimmer to do this because I like that I can fold the paper over the edge and get it right on the line, but you could use a pair of scissors to cut that off, X-Acto knife, whatever your favorite cutting tool is. So I'm just going to put this in here, and again, like I said, I like this because I can kind of fold it down and get it right up to that edge. and then we're just going to cut off that corner. And of course save this corner for some other project because it is a really nice color. Okay, we'll rotate. And again, we'll just get that lined up right on the edge. Make sure everything's good. Cut it off. Okay, onto our third corner here. And you'll see that what we're actually ending up making here is an octagon. Got the 8 sides here. Okay, here's my last corner. Just make sure that's nice and lined up. Okay, and there you see we have our purse all cut, creased, ready to fold together. To fold this together, we're just going to follow the way that we creased the lines. And you'll remember from earlier in the video I had the paper rotated either pattern side up or pattern side down depending on how the folds needed to go. So first we'll do all of the valley folds, and those are our straight lines that were done at 4 and 8 inches. Let me get out the bone folder here. Make it easier on my life. So we're just going to fold those down good. Okay. Rotate the paper. Next valley fold all the way across. Okay. Rotate it. And one more time on the 4th line. Okay, so there are all of our valley folds. Let's turn the paper over so our pattern side is up. And you'll remember that we had creases in the 4 corners going diagonally, as well as the crease at 6 inches. So let's go ahead and do our diagonals first. And with this, you only want to fold just down to that center line. You don't want to actually fold on this box part. So we're just going to fold where we scored. Okay, so let's rotate that. Okay, and we're just going to fold right on that diagonal. Because the bottom of the purse needs to be able to sit flat. There's my last one. Okay, so all 4 of those are now folded. So let's do the lines that were at 6 inches, which are right here. And remember, we only did it on 2 sides. So we're just going to fold this up. And again, make sure that we only go down to the box. And we don't even have to go all the way down because we won't actually be needing all of it. So let's just make sure that we get a good crease here. Okay, let's turn it over so the pattern side is facing down. And you'll see what's going to happen is we're going to push in on the sides where those 6-inch lines are. So those points are going to meet there. And then bring the back forward, bring the front forward. You'll see it's just going to fold up really nice on those lines you made. And that's why it's important that we crease it the right way from the get-go, because it makes it really easy to put together. So there you can see it's all folding together. Of course, we need to decorate it, embellishments on it, and put the outside cover. So let's get those put together. For the decoration, I have 4 pieces in white that are 3 3/4 inch square, and I have 4 pieces in this contrasting orange, which are also 3 3/4 inch square. I'm going to take 3 of the white and 1 of the orange and run it through the Big Shot with this nestability, which is 3.5 inches in diameter. Here they are after they've been through the Big Shot. These 3 are going to be on the inside of the card, and it's where I'll stamp my sentiments and embellishments. And this orange piece will be on the outside, and it will be the flap that holds the purse closed. I'm going to take the last white piece and run it through the Big Shot with the next size down in the nestability, and this is 3 inches in diameter. And here's that white piece after we ran it through the Big Shot. What we'll end up doing is taking our orange piece and putting it underneath. And we'll layer those and then stamp a sentiment, and that will be the flap to hold the purse closed. For these other 3 orange pieces, I'm just going to take my corner rounder here and round all 4 corners on all 3 pieces of paper. Now we'll take these 3 pieces of white and we're going to tape them onto our 3 orange pieces here. So we'll just run some tape along these. And then what we'll want to do is make sure that we get that nice and centered inside of there. And this is going to go on the inside of the purse, and we'll end up stamping a nice sentiment or embellishment on it. So go ahead and repeat that with the other 3 pieces. We'll take the purse base and make sure that those center lines are facing out. We don't want them facing up. And we're going to take our 3 pieces of orange with the white paper on them, and we're going to tape 1 to each of these squares going down the center. So let's go ahead and do the first one. And we'll eventually end up stamping some sentiments and embellishments on these. But for right now, we'll just go ahead and stick. And I'll start with the center. And these pieces of orange are a little bit smaller than the squares, so you want to make sure to take your time and get them nice and lined up. So there's our first one. You can see how well that contrast looks using the orange on this blue. We'll do one in the top now. Again, making sure to get it as nicely centered as we can. Okay, and then we'll take our last one, and that's of course going to go on the bottom. And there we have it. Now we need to start putting together the flap that holds the purse closed. So I've got the smaller white piece here and my crocodile, because I'm going to actually be punching some holes so I can put the ribbon through, and that will be the handle of the purse. First thing I'm going to do is fold the white piece in half. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure to line up those scallops. Okay, now that it's folded in half, I'm actually going to end up punching a couple of holes, one here and one here on the edges. And this has 2 different settings, 1/8 inch and 3/16 inch. I'm going to use the smaller of the punches because we can always go up if we need to, if we can't get a ribbon in. Harder to go down. I'm going to make sure that that hole is going right over the center of my crease line. Okay, so there's one. Rotate the paper and we'll do it on the other side. And now what we need to do is thread our ribbon through, and it helps if it's cut at a diagonal because you have a smaller piece to get started with. So we can just pull that through the other side, so we can see that that 1/8 inch hole was big enough. And now that we have it through the other side, I'm just going to take a little bit of Scotch tape and tape it down because no one will ever see this side. And then let's run the ribbon through the other side, making sure that it's not twisted. Okay. Grasp that and pull it through. And again, we'll just use a piece of Scotch tape to hold it in place. And there we have it. So I need to attach this white piece to the orange scallop circle for the flap, and I'm going to go ahead and start by folding the orange piece in half the same way that I folded in half this white scallop circle. So you can see the center line is going between 2 scallops, so I'll make sure to do the same on my orange piece. That way everything lines up nice and evenly. Okay, so that's folded in half now. So then, of course, just turn this over. We'll run a little tape runner on the underside. And you could also use red line if you're worried about it coming off, but I think tape runner will work just fine for this. Okay, and then we'll just make sure that we line it up evenly. And you can see it just is going to sit right on top of that crease line that you made on the orange. There we go, fold it in half, press it down. Perfect, so this is ready to put onto the purse. So I have the purse here and our flap with the sentiment facing forward. And I'm just going to put some tape runner on this part of the flap. Get a good amount on there. And then what we'll do is on the back of the purse, we're going to just fold that back and we're going to place our flap right up to the edge of that fold line. Get that nice and centered on there. Press it down. And there it is. To actually hold the purse closed, we need some kind of mechanism that will release when the person wants to open it. So I've just got this little square of Velcro here. I've seen other people use magnets, so you can use whatever you'd like. I'm going to remove the backing on one of the pieces to expose the adhesive. And we'll just put that down toward the bottom of our flap. Okay, and then we need to remove the adhesive backing on the other piece. There we are. And then we'll fold the purse closed. Just kind of put that down to where it's naturally going to fall. Push it in, and there you can see it holds it nice and closed. And then when they're ready to open it, just pull up on that, Velcro's in place, it falls open, and then on the inside, this is where you'll stamp your embellishments. And then when they're done, they can just fold it right back up and close it up. What's also nice about this is that it has a space inside where you can put something. So maybe we'll take a few, let's say Hershey Kisses, and just drop those on the inside. Another small gift maybe you could put on there and then fold it closed. So there you have it, that's the completed purse. And I'd love to see what you come up with. So if you do make this, please post it in the comments below.